Hello, welcome back. It's another wonderful episode of Numeril. I'm your host, Damon DaRil Naylor. We truly thank you for tuning in, and we have an exciting show in store for you. Today, we're going to look at the acronym TEA, T-E-A as in the tea you drink, and this is the step-by-step process by which we commit every action that we do, everything that we end up, acting upon. It goes through a process, and we're going to look at and analyze each letter so we can get a very good understanding of this process so that we can change it. We can do the things that are positive and wholesome and that are upright, as opposed to doing things that are negative and are that not good. So the first letter is the T. It stands for or represents thoughts. Every sensory experience, anything seen, heard, tasted, smelled, and felt, is processed by the initial processor or our minds as thoughts. These encounters are perceived as either good and positive or bad and negative. That means that the things we see, hear, taste, smell, and feel, those are our senses. And so they get processed by our minds in the forms of thoughts. So anything we see on TV, any music we hear, foods we taste, smells that we encounter, or any textures we feel, they get processed by our minds. And it's either going to be a good experience, a positive experience, or bad or negative, okay? And so it is important that we understand that everything you encounter gets filtered as a thought. Now, the only problem we have as finite beings is recall. Sometimes we can't recall it, but do you know if you come into contact with that stimuli where you initially smell, tasted, or encounter something, that it can be brought to your memory? That's how powerful our minds and spirits are. So it starts with the thoughts, okay? Once the thoughts have been accepted, they are converted into emotions. This is the E in T, our emotions or our feelings. So whatever you encounter, the smell, the taste, the feel, the see, or whatever you hear, it is accepted. It makes you feel a certain way. If you smell something good, it makes you feel good. If you smell something bad, you kind of feel sick of the stomach, you feel funny. And so all of these sensory experiences are converted into emotions and some type of feeling. Good and positive thoughts produce good and positive feelings, such as happiness, excitement, and delight. So when we think upon happy things, exciting things, and delightful things or positive things, they make us feel good. Now, if that's the case, just as on the flip side, bad, negative thoughts produce bad, negative feelings, such as anger, discouragement, and depression. And this is why it's so important that we really guard the things we think upon, the things, like I always say, meditate and ponder, because eventually they will get converted into feelings. And once they get converted into feelings, it affects your energy level. It affects your output. It affects your disposition, your mood. All of those things is critical because they're tied to our thoughts. The Apostle Paul in the Bible, he said, I think myself happy. If you can think yourself happy, you can think yourself depressed, you can think yourself discouraged, because it's all about that meditation. It's all about those repetitious thoughts that we allow to go through our mind. Okay? So once we have the thoughts and emotions, once the thoughts are accepted and the emotions are embraced, they generate actions. We act upon what we think and what we feel. And the thing is, as we observe others as well as ourselves, we'll find that positive thoughts and upbeat feelings result in wholesome behavior, while negative thoughts and gloomy feelings typically result in unhealthy behavior. In essence, whatever we're thinking upon and that is generating, those things are generating emotions, it affects us, how we feel, whether we up or down. But we can draw back to what we're thinking about and how we're feeling. And then it causes us to act in that way. You can tell when somebody's depressed. You can tell when somebody's happy. You can tell when somebody's overjoyed. You can tell when somebody's satisfied. And so when you analyze each of the components, you will find that their thoughts are good, their emotions are good, so their actions are good. When somebody's not doing well, you can trace it back to their thoughts not being, positive or good. Then they don't feel well, and therefore they're acting in that way. So what we want to do now is change this, okay? And there's a way that we can change this whole scenario. All right. And so what we want to do is see, how do we go about changing our actions? Okay. And so ultimately, continuous acts form the basis of our nature and character. If we're satisfied and pleased with our character, then we just continue what we're doing. But if we desire to change our nature and behavior, there is a simple process, very simple process, and that is what we want to share with you now. How to recalibrate your life, how to recalibrate your thoughts, which will in turn recalibrate your feelings, and these things will recalibrate your actions. All right, so here's the step-by-step process. Number one, monitor the types of things that are engaging your senses. Make sure to listen to and watch uplifting, educational, and wholesome music, as well as programming. I know I had to do this years ago when I first came to God, because I was listening to a lot of bad music, watching a lot of horrible programming, and it was affecting me at the time because I wasn't in the light. I didn't know any better. But once I got the revelation and God showed me, hey, these things have a tremendous and critical effect on you and your life, your thoughts, how you feel, and how you act, I began to change those things. And I can assuredly tell you that once you change those things, your thought patterns will change, how you feel will change, and ultimately your actions will change. Okay. Then you want to create some personal positive affirmations about yourself and meditate on them day and night. Some of us is all about our perspective of self. When we look in the mirror, we're just not satisfied with who we are, what we see, and how we feel. And so what we have to do, I want you to look at your life, analyze it, and extract some good positive properties and characteristics of yourself. You have some great things that you've done. You have some great characteristics that describe you. Stop looking at the doom and gloom. Stop worrying about all of the imperfections and your shortcomings and weaknesses. No, it's time for you to focus on your strengths. It's time to for you to focus on the things that make you good and a wonderful person. And you start thinking about those things during the day. When you look at yourself, you think about them. Before you go to sleep, you think about them. You just want to get them embedded in your spirit. And then you want to surround yourself with good, self-assured, and diligent people. When you analyze a person's circle, those who are closest to him or her, you will find that they all have something in common. And if you're trying to be successful, if you're trying to be positive, then you have to surround yourself with those kind of people. You don't want to be the eyeball out, the person with the energy, and the rest of the group is just draining your energy. You won't be able to go anywhere. But you want to be able to bounce your energy and be able to receive energy from others just as you give it. And it's important that you surround yourself with those kind of people. Whoever you surround yourself with, that's basically who's going to water and feed you. So if you want to be fruitful and productive, surround yourself with fruitful and productive people. Last but not least, search for and take advantage of any opportunity to serve others in an honorable manner. I cannot reiterate this concept enough. You have to find opportunities to serve. It's more blessed to give than to receive, and this is ultimately true. As you're putting out, there's something about it that helps you to feel good about yourself, feel good about your fellow humanity as you are serving them. And it's time for us to serve each other in positive and good ways. Out with the days of doing and plotting and scheming and doing harm to each other. But it's time for us to love one another, to help one another, to pick up one another, to encourage one another, and just to serve each other. All of us are able to serve another person in a good capacity, in a positive and wholesome manner. So we want to look for those opportunities. And I tell you, if you begin to change your thoughts, that's going to change your emotions, that's going to change your actions. And if you surround yourself with the right kind of people, watch and monitor what you see and hear, and just begin to do these concepts, things are going to change for the better. I promise you, it's a step-by-step process. But if you implement it to a T with consistency, you will see some great results. I promise you will see some great results. I do it on a constant basis. I've been doing it for the last 25 years or so, and I have seen a tremendous change in my mind, the way I think, my emotions, and my actions. So we truly thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate you. Please get the word out, tell somebody else about us, and we look forward to being with you again pretty soon. So God bless you and yours, and take care.